Welcome to the AI checkpoints. Imagine building something with just incredible power, right? A tool that could genuinely revolutionize everything. Medicine, art, you name it. Now, the huge question is, how do you make absolutely sure that power is always used for good?
Yeah, that's really the core challenge. It's something Anthropic, the folks behind the Claude AI model, are tackling head on.
Exactly. So today we're kind of pulling back the curtain on their, well, surprisingly complex answer. We're going to dive deep into how they're building safeguards around these really powerful AI models. The goal, make sure they're helpful, not harmful. We're digging into their multi-layered approach, mostly based on their article from August 12, 2025, called Building Safeguards for Claude.
Right. And our mission here, for this deep dive is really to give you a solid understanding of the what, why, and how of these AI safeguards. We'll explore pretty much everything, from how they even start thinking about policy, how that influences training the AI itself.
All the way to testing.
Oh yeah, rigorous testing before anything goes out. Then the real-time enforcement, like what happens when it's being used, and even continuous monitoring for, new threats nobody's thought of yet. The aim is for you to get a really clear picture of what actually goes into making an AI like Claude safe for millions of people.
And why it's so much more complicated than just, I don't know, fading some kind of safety switch.
Exactly. It's definitely not just one switch.
Okay, sounds like a lot to unpack. So to really get a handle on this multi-layered thing, let's start big picture. What's the core mission? What's driving Anthropic's whole safety approach?
Fundamentally, their goal, as they put it, is to empower users. Give people Claude to tackle really complex problems, boost creativity, deepen understanding, that sort of thing. And this is the key part, doing that responsibly, making sure Claude's abilities are, consistently channeled toward good outcomes. And crucially, preventing actual real-world harm. So think of it like amplifying human potential, but with really robust guardrails built in from the start.
Okay, amplifying potential with guardrails. I like that. And to make that happen, it's not like they just have one safety department, right? It sounds like they've assembled a pretty unique kind of team.
That's one of the really interesting things, yeah. They've built this specialized interdisciplinary safeguards team. It brings together experts from all over: policy folks, enforcement specialists, product people, data scientists, threat intelligence analysts, engineers, all working together.
Wow, that's quite a mix.
It is. And the article points out something important. This team understands both sides of the coin. They know how to build strong systems, and they know how bad actors think, how they try to break things. This dual perspective, building and breaking, it's not just a collection of experts. It feels like a strategic shift. They're thinking proactively, almost like playing chess against future threats, not just reacting after something goes wrong.
So it's definitely not a single fix. It's this sophisticated, multi-layered strategy you mentioned earlier. How does that actually play out across the AI's whole life?
Yeah, it operates across multiple layers, right from the beginning to the very end and even after. It starts with policy development, figuring out the rules. Then that feeds into how the model is actually trained. Then there's tons of testing for harmful stuff, then enforcing those policies in real time when people are using it, and finally, always looking out for new ways people might misuse it, new attacks. It's like a continuous cycle of feedback loop.
That makes a lot of sense. A constant loop. And the very foundation, that first layer, sounds like it's the policy itself, setting the rules before any code gets written. How do they build that blueprint?
That's exactly where the safeguards team designs Claude's usage policy. It's basically the rule book. Here's how you should use Claude, here's how you shouldn't. And it's not just vague guidelines. It covers really critical areas: child safety, election integrity, cybersecurity, big stuff. But it also gets specific, offering nuanced guidance for using Claude in sensitive industries like healthcare or finance, where the risks might be different. So definitely not a one-size-fits-all policy.
Okay, let's unpack this. How do they even begin to define harm? That word itself feels so broad, maybe even subjective. How do you make that concrete for an AI?
That is a huge question, and it's where their unified harm framework comes into play. They describe it as an evolving framework, not set in stone. It helps the team think about potential harm across 5 main dimensions: physical harm, psychological, economic, societal harm, and harm to individual autonomy. It's not like a formal grading system, ABC. It's more like a structured lens to look through, helping them consider both how likely misuse is and how bad it could be. So it's really a tool to get this diverse team on the same page about what harm means in different contexts, making policy more consistent even as things change fast.
A structured lens. Okay, so they're not just sitting around theorizing about harm. I gather they actually pressure test these policies, bring in outside experts.
Absolutely. That's their policy vulnerability testing process. They team up with external domain experts. We're talking specialists in really tough areas: terrorism, radicalization, child safety, mental health crises, people who know these domains inside out.
Right.
And these experts then actively stress test the policies. They basically try to push Claude with challenging prompts to see how it responds, looking for weaknesses in the policy or the AI's behavior. It's like bringing in professional pen testers, but for AI policy and safety, trying to find the cracks before someone else does.
That's smart. Like red teaming for AI policy. Is there a concrete example of how that worked?
Yeah, the article gives a good one. Their partnership with the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, especially around the 2024 U.S. election, working together helped Anthropic spot ways Claude might give out, outdated or maybe incomplete election info.
Ah, okay. That could be bad.
Definitely. So as a direct result, they made a change. Claude.ai started showing a banner if you asked about elections, pointing you towards trusted sources like TurboVote for accurate voting information. It really shows how that external stress testing directly feeds back into shaping the policies, the training data, even the detection systems they build later.
So that expert testing isn't just finding flaws, it's like active intelligence gathering that feeds right back into Claude's core programming, guiding the engineers when they actually teach the AI. Let's shift to that. How does this safety focus get embedded into Claude's actual brain during training?
That's the next crucial stage, yeah. The safeguards team works really closely, like hand in glove, with the teams doing the model fine-tuning. It's described as a deep collaborative process specifically to prevent harmful behaviors and responses. They have these extensive discussions about exactly what Claude should do and, maybe more importantly, what it shouldn't do. And those decisions directly shape the traits they build into the model during training.
So it's not just here are the rules, go train it. It's collaborative shaping.
Exactly. And they're also finding problems during the training process itself.
Yes, absolutely. Their evaluation and detection systems are running while training is happening, flagging potential bad outputs.
When issues pop up, they work with those fine-tuning teams to fix them. This might mean updating something called reward models.
Reward models.
Yeah, you could think of reward models as sort of specialized AIs trained to judge how good or safe Claude's responses are. They provide feedback to the main model, like, that was good, or no, that was unsafe. It helps teach the main AI nuance.
Ah, okay. Like an AI teaching assistant focused on safety.
Sort of, yeah. Or if a model's already out there, they might adjust its system prompt, the hidden instructions guiding its behavior. It's a continuous adjustment process.
And it's not just about blocking harmful stuff, right? It's also about handling really sensitive topics carefully. You mentioned a partnership with Throughline.
That's a really key point. They've partnered with Throughline, who are leaders in online crisis support. The goal there was to get a much deeper understanding of how an AI should respond in really delicate situations, especially things like self-harm or mental health crises.
That's tricky territory for an AI.
Extremely. So those insights from Throughline get fed back to the training teams to really refine the nuance in Claude's responses.
Yeah.
They don't want Claude to just shut down or completely refuse to engage, because that could be harmful too. But they also don't want it misinterpreting things. It's about finding that careful, supportive middle ground, maybe suggesting professional help when needed.
So through all this fine-tuning, these partnerships, what actual safety skills does Claude end up learning? What can it do?
Anthropic lists several key skills. It learns to decline, helping with harmful, illegal stuff, obviously. It gets good at recognizing when someone's trying to generate malicious code or create fraudulent content or plan dangerous actions. And critically, it learns to discuss sensitive topics with care. It has to distinguish between a genuine, maybe difficult conversation and someone actually trying to cause harm. What really strikes me here is, like you said, it's not just blocking keywords. They're aiming to teach the AI the nuance of sensitive topics.
Yeah.
That feels like a significant step up.
It really does. Nuance is hard. Okay, so the model is trained, imbued with these safety skills. But before it ever reaches us users, it goes through some intense testing, right? This pre-release phase sounds crucial.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Before any new Claude model version gets released, it goes through what they call rigorous testing, checking both how well it performs its tasks and its safety capabilities. They have specific safety evaluations. This is where they check how well Claude sticks to their usage policy on sensitive topics, things like child exploitation or self-harm. They don't just test simple prompts either. They look at a whole range of scenarios. Clear rule violations, yes, but also ambiguous situations where it's not obvious, and even long back-and-forth conversations to see if problems emerge over time.
How do they grade those?
Interestingly, they often use other AI models to do the initial grading of Claude's responses. Then, humans come in for an additional review, checking the AI grader's work and ensuring accuracy.
Using AI to check AI with a human backup makes sense. What about the really high-stakes stuff, like weapons or major cyber attacks?
Right, for those high-risk domains, they do specific risk assessments. This covers areas like cyber harm and CBRNE chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear weapons, and high-yield explosives.
Yeah, the scary stuff.
Exactly. Areas where AI misuse could be catastrophic.
Yeah.
So here they partner with government agencies and private industry experts for what they call AI capability uplift testing. They're basically trying to figure out if AI got better in this area, what new threats could emerge. Then they define those potential threat models and test how well their existing safeguards hold up against them. It's like preemptively wargaming future dangers.
And what about bias? That's always a huge concern with AI. How do they test for that before release?
Bias evaluations are another big piece. The aim is to see if Claude consistently gives reliable, accurate answers for everyone, regardless of context or who's asking. For political bias, for instance, they might feed it prompts with opposing viewpoints and then score the answers on factuality, how comprehensive they are, if they treat both sides fairly, and if they're consistent. They also test for identity bias, like if you ask about jobs or healthcare, does adding information about gender, race, or religion change the answer in a biased way? They check for that.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. They're basically trying to break it themselves before the bad guys get a chance. It's like this proactive defense. Can you give an example of that breaking process actually leading to a fix?
Yeah, that's exactly the idea. Find the weaknesses internally first. They give a specific example with a computer use tool they were developing. During the pre-launch testing, they realized, this tool could potentially be used to make spam generation and distribution easier.
Ah, not good.
Not good at all. So before launching it, they developed new ways to detect that kind of misuse, new enforcement actions like being able to disable the tool for specific accounts if they misuse it, and also added protections against prompt injection.
Prompt injection.
Yeah, that's where users try to trick the AI into ignoring its safety rules by hiding commands inside their prompts. So they built defenses against that too, all based on that pre-launch testing.
And they're open about these test results.
That's what they say. The results from these evaluations are reported in public system cards. They come out with each new model family. It's part of their transparency effort, showing the scrutiny each model undergoes.
Okay, so the model passes testing, it's launched, now it's out in the wild interacting with millions of us. How do they keep it safe in real time? That seems like a completely different challenge.
It absolutely is a whole different ballgame. That's where their real-time detection and enforcement systems kick in. It's a hybrid approach, automated systems doing most of the heavy lifting, but with human review involved too. A key part of the automation is using what they call classifiers.
Classifiers, okay.
Yeah, these are essentially other Claude models, either prompted in a specific way or specially fine-tuned, just to detect specific policy violations as they happen in real time. And they can run multiple classifiers at once, each looking for different kinds of harm without disrupting the user's main conversation too much.
So it's like Claude is sort of auditing itself, or parts of it are. What are the big challenges there, using AI to monitor AI, especially with nuance?
That's a good way to put it, yeah, for certain things. And the challenge is massive. It's that balancing act we talked about, being strict enough to catch real harm, but not so strict that you block perfectly fine, maybe even sensitive but important conversations. For example, they also mention specific detection for CSAM child sexual abuse material, where they compare image hashes against known databases. That's more clear-cut. But for other things, nuance is everything. These classifiers help decide when action is needed.
And what kind of actions can they take? Is it just stopping the conversation?
They have a few options. One is response steering. That means they can subtly adjust how Claude interprets a prompt or what it says in response, nudging it away from harmful output. Like if a classifier thinks you're trying to generate spam, it might automatically add extra instructions to Claude behind the scenes telling it not to. In really narrow, severe cases, they might stop Claude from responding altogether.
And what about repeat offenders?
Then they move to account enforcement. If they see a pattern of violations from an account, they might issue warnings. Or, for serious stuff, they can terminate the account. They also work on blocking fake accounts trying to abuse the system from the start.
Man, doing all that analysis in real time across potentially trillions of interactions, The engineering side of that must be immense.
Oh, it is. Anthropic themselves say it's a huge challenge, both on the machine learning research side, designing classifiers that are accurate but efficient, and the pure engineering side. Processing all that data, keeping the extra computing costs low, and crucially, avoiding false positives, not blocking harmless content. It's a constant refinement process.
That's a lot to juggle. It really drives home the scale of this safety effort. But the job isn't done even when it's deployed and being monitored in real time, is it? There's another layer focused on ongoing monitoring, looking beyond just single prompts.
It's exactly right. The safeguards team also looks at harmful traffic patterns more broadly. Not just single interactions or accounts, but trying to understand the overall prevalence of different harms and spotting more sophisticated, coordinated attacks. One tool they use here is called Claude Insights and Observations. It lets them analyze real-world usage patterns in a privacy-preserving way, grouping conversations into general topics. This kind of research helps them understand things like the emotional impact of using Claude, which then informs the guardrails they build.
So they're looking at the bigger picture, almost the societal impact level.
Kind of, yeah. And they use another technique called hierarchical summarization, especially for monitoring things like computer use features or potential cyber misuse. Think about trying to spot a distributed influence operation. If you only looked at one message at a time, you'd miss it. This technique lets them condense lots of individual interactions into summaries and then analyze those summaries.
Like zooming out.
Exactly. Zooming out from the trees to see the forest. It helps them catch behaviors that only look bad when you see them all together, like those automated influence campaigns or other large-scale abuses.
That's clever for spotting coordinated efforts. What about brand new threats? The stuff nobody's seen before.
That falls under their threat intelligence work. This team focuses on the most severe potential misuses, actively looking for adversarial tactics and patterns that the automated systems might miss. They do things like look for anomalies, weird spikes in account activity compared to normal patterns. They cross-reference data from outside sources like security reports or open-source threat data with what they're seeing internally. And they're proactive too. They monitor places where bad actors might hang out and discuss tactics, social media, messaging apps, hacker forums. They try to stay ahead of the curve.
And they share what they find.
Yeah, they mention publishing public threat intelligence reports sometimes, which helps the whole industry.
So after all this, policy, training, testing, real-time enforcement, ongoing monitoring, what does this whole complex system mean for us, the users, and maybe for the future of AI?
Well, it means that making AI safe is just a massive ongoing job. It's absolutely vital, but it's incredibly challenging. And Anthropic is pretty open about it. In their article, they say this is way too big for any single company to solve alone. They actively ask for feedback, for partnerships from users like you, from researchers, policymakers, other organizations. They even have bug bounty programs, basically paying people to find flaws in their defenses.
So it's a community effort, in a way.
It really has to be. It's a continuous process needing constant evolution just to keep pace with how fast AI is developing and how creative people can be in misusing it.
It's definitely clear that building safe AI is a marathon, not a sprint. Requires constant vigilance, constant improvement, and really everyone chipping in. The details in Anthropic's article really show the depth of commitment needed.
Absolutely. It's all about building that trust layer by layer, step by step.
Well said. An ongoing effort indeed. Hit like and subscribe if you like the content. See you next time.